Alrighty, in this video what we're going to do is start working on the ability to change your team and your hero. I don't imagine that's going to be particularly difficult with all the stuff we have already put together. So what I'm first going to do, actually, there's one thing in the lobby system that's kind of bugging me just a little bit. So our lobby player list and our lobbies list are both scrollables, whereas our players list is not. I kind of want to go ahead and fix that. I kind of want to make the players list be a scrollable, but fortunately that's really easy to do. So we're just going to go over to players, we're going to right click, we're going to do UI, and we're going to do a scroll view. And then for the scroll view, we'll go ahead and dock it in the inside, and then we'll pop it down by a little bit, I guess 20 pixels. So we'll give it a top of 20 pixels. So now it kind of fills in this player panel guy right here. So I think what I'm going to do here is for the scroll view, his viewport is content is usually where we stick the content, and we put in a vertical layout group and a content size fitter. So what I'm going to do for the content is I believe the content is being referenced. It is being referenced by the scroll rect. What I want to do is I want to replace the player panel with the content of this scroll bar. I just kind of want to take this game object that we already have all configured and sort of shove it down there and replace it with the existing game object. Of course, that means we're going to have to rewire up some stuff, but that should be pretty easy to do. So let's take the player panel and let's put him right there next to the content, and then let's come up here to the scroll view and let's find where that content is referenced. It seems that the content's only referenced right here in this one property, this content property. So all we have to do to replace it is take the player panel and replace it like that, and now the content is referencing the player panel's rect transform. Okay, now that we've done that, we can go ahead and delete the content. And then the player panel, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete his layout element. He doesn't even need a layout element. I don't know why that's there. I'm going to keep the vertical layout group, but then I'm going to add a content size fitter with a vertical fit of preferred size. And also, he should probably... How's the anchor of this content set up? The anchor is just set up to top, so we can do that the same here. Come over here and we'll anchor him right up to the top like that. Or maybe to the top like that, so he does a vertical fit. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and jump back into our loader and see if that had any effect. By the way, those weird errors that I was getting when we launched the lobby window went away after I updated Unity, so it seems that that was indeed a bug with Unity. Anyway, so we now have a list of players, and we can click and drag them. I'm not sure where that additional background is coming from, though, so let's go ahead and identify that. That additional background seems to be coming from the player panel. So for the player panel, let's remove that additional background, and let's also take off the horizontal scrolling of that. So let's jump back into the lobby. Let's click on our scroll view for our players, and the first thing I want to do is uncheck horizontal scrolling. And the second thing I want to do is go into his player panel and take off his image component. And that should clean things up quite nicely. So now let's jump back into Loader, hit save, hit play, log in as admin, and now we have a scrollable players list that doesn't look ugly, and it's now consistent with all of our other lists, as you can see. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and work on our drop-downs for our lobby. So basically our options for our character. What team do we want to be on, and what class do we want to be? So right now we have these two drop-downs, and they're both empty. I guess the first goal is to go ahead and populate them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back into Visual Studio in the client, and then in the lobby window, remember the lobby window is the class that represents, well, the lobby window, it's a persistent game object that'll stick around and then be kind of attached to the system when things happen. And what I want to do is in this init, I want to go ahead and reset all of the options in those dropdowns and set them to be the values of the game team and game hero enumeration. So let's jump back into the lobby real fast. So we have these guys here, the hero dropdown and the team dropdown. And what we want to do is we want to reset their options. So I'll move that off to the side. We don't have a reference to them yet, so we do need to do that. So in the lobby window, I'll add a public dropdown, hero dropdown, and public dropdown, team dropdown. And then I'll just save that and come back into Unity, and then it'll do its fancy recompilation. And once it's done recompiling, then I should now be able to jump up here to the lobby window mono behavior, which is attached to the lobby game object. And now I have the hero drop down, the team drop down. So I could just drag and drop hero onto hero and drag and drop team onto team. So now those UI elements are hooked up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back into Visual Studio, and the first thing I'm going to do instead of init is I'm going to clear out the existing options from both of those dropdowns. So I'm going to say hero dropdown dot options, and then just clear, and team dropdown options, and then clear. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say for each var team in enum.getNames type of game team. I'm going to say team dropdown. Actually, I want this line to be above that line. Team dropdown options dot add, and then we have to add a new dropdown dot option data. And option data can take in a string, a nothing, or a string, a sprite image, or a text in an image. I wonder if it can also, no, it just can do text and image. So let's go ahead and construct it with team. And then let's do the same thing for hero. So actually, we could also probably do this with link. Hero dropdown options add range. Okay, we do have an add range. And then we can simply do enum.getNames type of game hero dot select, which we'll have to import system.link at the top. And we'll do name goes into new dropdown dot option data name. And there we go. What's that yelling? Oh, parameter name. Let's just do n. All right, let's do the same. Let's write the same code for our team dropdown. I kind of like that a little bit more. So for the team dropdown, we're just going to perform basically the same query, except we'll be doing it against the team dropdown options as well as the game team enumeration. So just a really straightforward way to add that data. And so at this point, we can actually go ahead and test this. So let's jump back here. Let's jump back into our loader. Wait for everything to recompile. Save our changes, of course. Come over here, log in as admin, create a lobby. Now, what's interesting is these dropdowns are now working, but you'll notice that they have the first option selected, but the text isn't being updated until we select one of these items. In fact, it's not even being updated after we select one of those items. What is up with that? Is there not enough room to display that? Let's go ahead and forcibly... No, we can't forcibly expand it unless we move it out. I'm just going to kind of cheat and move it up here. And it seems that, or just move it right into the canvas. It seems that when it gets too small, it doesn't display. So that's going to be problematic. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. Let's see how we can fix this. So if we come in here, we have the label and we have the error. We notice the label is really small in there. There's a lot of padding. I'm wondering if we can reduce the padding. Give it like a left padding of 5, a top padding of 5, and a right padding of bottom padding of 5, and maybe a right padding of 5. Let's see how that looks, actually. Let's do that in both of these. Well, no, let's do it on that label first, and then we'll come back and reapply those changes if I like them. So we'll create, and now if I select tank, it still is not showing our stuff. So let's go ahead and play around with this while we're in the scene view. One of the cool things about Unity is we can do this. So let's first play with bring the font size down. So if you do 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, so it dies around 14. So let's see here. I guess 10 looks fine. We can do 10, and we can do that here too. Bring this label. Remember how we changed all the padding to 5, 5, 5, 5, and then we can choose 12, and then come back into the game view. Take. I really need to change that to tank. That's okay. I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of the left padding. I think the left padding needs to be like 10. The left padding was really bugging me. So do 10 on both of that, and then let's play around with it. That looks better. Okay. So we'll do a left padding of 10, and then we'll do a font size of whatever that font size was, 12. So let's jump back into lobby, and let's change that. Let's come over here. Let's go into our label. Give it a left padding of 10. It's not technically padding. I'm just using the term padding because it's a common term to describe what we're doing. It's technically the offset of this particular rect transform, but that's okay. And then we'll move his font size down to 12. We could have done both of these labels at the same time, but whatever. Move the other one to a font size of 12, and then move his left padding to 10, and his right padding to 5, his bottom padding to 5, and his top padding to 5. I don't mind. See, by changing the right padding to 5, which is significantly less than what it was before, it will allow the text to appear underneath the arrow, but I honestly do not mind that. That looks fine to me. So we'll go ahead and save out the scene, jump back into our loader, and hit play. Go ahead and create a lobby. And you'll see it doesn't initially show a value, but once I start selecting values, it does indeed start to show those values. So that's the behavior I'm looking for. Well, it's not quite the behavior I'm looking for. The behavior I'm looking for is that, oh, that's interesting. So when I leave and create, does it really not? Okay, so we'll also, after deleting and changing the items, we'll also have to reset the items back to their default of none. But in addition to that, that's weird. I don't think that code's being executed. Or options clear, add range. These should be being executed. Whoa there. Yeah, unfortunately, the drop-downs in Unity are a little buggy, but I really don't care too much about this user interface. It's something that we can play around with later. So for now... Okay, it is repopulating. But it doesn't clear out that selected item. But not only does it not clear out the selected item, it doesn't clear out the selected text. So we're going to have to figure that out. So if we do team drop down, do we have a... What parameters do we have? Remember, with ReSharper, the items in bold are items that are fields or methods or properties or whatever that were added to that particular class and not its descendant. So what we want to look at is we want to see things in bold to figure out how to manipulate the selected value. And I think I saw that right there. I think it's value. So I'll say value equals 0. I assume that's an index, and we will find out soon enough. So let's go ahead and close that out, or set both of their values to 0. Let's come back. Let's create our lobby. Okay, so it's still not showing text on the first instance, but if I leave the lobby and recreate the lobby, then it does default to none. So again, there is that bug, that weird bug there, that I guess is still here. Unfortunately, it's been around forever since the new Unity UI, that when you start a drop-down and populate it from code, even if you change the selected value, it doesn't update the text. So to fix that, we just have to add a little hacky line here, but you know it's Unity, so what do you expect? I think actually I want to reorder these lines. I want to do each one of these like so. Okay, to fix that, what we do, whoops, that's backwards. What we do is we simply say team dropdown dot, what is it called? Caption text equals team dropdown dot caption text. There was another text property. What is item text? Item text, the text component used to hold the text of the item, whereas caption text is the text component to currently selected option. Whatever. So caption text equals caption text, and let's do that also down here. Hero dropdown. I wish they fixed this. Like I said, the dropdown in Unity is not the best written component on the planet, but since we're writing a really simple user interface for debugging and testing purposes, just to get on with building the game, I'm not going to worry about building my own yet. Anyway, by doing this, by writing this code, it should reset the text on the first play. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and hit play from our loader, log in, create lobby, and check that out, none and none, and then I can select tank or damage or support. Okay, let's go ahead and rename this to tank, because tank is obviously not the right thing. So that enum is actually going to be located in our Visual Studio solution, so we can go ahead and say game hero, and change this from take to tank with an N, hit F6, wait a year and a half, and we're good to go. So now we should be able to jump over to Unity, wait for it to compile, which also takes a year and a half. hit play. Because the server restarted, it has to reinitialize the connection to the database. Hit create, and now we should still have take. It doesn't look like the Unity project is built. So let's go ahead and right click and hit build on that. Jump back into Unity, and we're still not getting any action here. So let's come over to assemblies, and let's just nuke all these assemblies right out of this folder. Probably the fastest way to get a rebuild going on. Come back here, and then take this and say rebuild on Buzz MMO Client Unity. That should result in all the assemblies being copied back in, and they are. And with the new assemblies, we should have the updated spelling. So let's go ahead and wait for those to re-import. And they have. Now we can hit play, log in as admin, create, and we now have tank. Now, another thing that's really bugging me are those alert dialogues with the new text stuff. Let's go ahead and fix that real fast. So under prefabs, user interface, main lobby, or whoops, under scenes, garbage, dialogue prefabs, let's go ahead and get rid of this new text nonsense. So I'm just going to come over here and nuke all of that. I'm also going to come up here to the title panel and remove the title completely. And we should now be able to apply the prefab. So now the confirm dialog is applied. So let's delete that instance and bring over a prefabs user interface. No, it's under resources prefabs, and then it's going to be our alert dialog. Instantiate that on the canvas. Oh, the alert dialog was already set up. Let's do our confirm dialog, and let's go ahead and take out all of this new text, and take out that title. So clear that out. Come back here to the top object and hit apply to apply that prefab, or the changes to that prefab rather. So now if we come into scenes, go into our loader, hit play, we should no longer get that new text. Wait, what? Oh, I think I messed something up severely. What did I do? Okay, so we have canvas, confirm dialog. Confirm dialog does have a confirm dialog script on it, so I think the confirm dialog is fine. Let's reinstantiate our alert dialog. I think I broke that. Our alert dialog also has a confirm dialog on it. So I think I really messed something up. So to fix it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up source tree and I'm going to revert that prefab. Or not source tree, SmartKit, which is an awesome tool, by the way. And I'm going to come over here. So we have our changes. I'm going to come over here to our scene and our alert how about just our alert dialog.prefab, and that's the only instance of that being changed. And let's right click and say discard, which will discard the changes and revert back. So let's do that. Come back here into Unity. And now inside of the scene, I should be able to instantiate an alert dialog. And now we have our old alert dialog back. So now we can come in and we can nuke all the text. And we can nuke the title. And then we can come up here to the top and hit apply on the prefab. And everything should now be awesome. So if we hop on over to our loader and hit play, our alert dialogues should no longer be annoying. And they are no longer annoying. And that's another example of why you should always use source control. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and implement the code on the server that'll go ahead and update our hero in our team. So on the client side, actually, let's do the client side first. On the client side, we need to write a method in our lobby window that will handle the setting the team and setting the hero from the drop. Now, the dropdown is going to send in an integer index. So let's go ahead and jump to where we have our event handlers, like right here, underneath leave lobby. Let's go ahead and do public void set team int team index. And then what I'm going to do is, let's see here. I'm just going to go ahead and say, I first need to get the team, so I'm going to say var team equals game team index. So because the way we populated those lists, we populated them with the result of enum.get names on these enums. The indexes will line up with the enum members, assuming, of course, that you don't override the values that the enum members represent. But because we didn't do that, they'll line up neatly, and we'll be able to convert directly from an integer into an enum. Now we can go ahead and say proxy dot update player details, new game lobby player details. And remember, we're going to use the object initialization syntax for this, so we trigger the flags being set of what data we're sending. So we're going to say ID equals, and do we even know our ID? Yes, we do. We can get our ID from context auth user ID, and then our team is simply going to be team. Then I'm only going to handle on fail. So I'm going to do on fail def goes into, and then I'm going to, what did I blow up there? Whoops, that should not have a thingy there. So this code's ugly. Let's fix it. Do that, and then do that, and then do that, and now all of a sudden it's less ugly. Okay, so on fail, actually we can put this on the same. Whoops, I'm in overwrite mode. That is not what we want to do. All right, let's go ahead and put this on the same line. And now it looks even better. Okay, so on fail, I'm simply going to do context, prefabs, instantiate, alert dialog. I'm going to set title, can't set team, set message, def.error, and set can dismiss to true. Whoops, it's not name equals team, it's team equals team. That's a dumb thing to do. All right, let's go ahead and do our public void set hero. Int hero index. Var hero equals game hero index. And then we're going to do proxy dot update player details. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and write a private void update player details. And this is going to take in a lobby player details. And what this is going to do is this is simply going to say proxy dot update player details on fail goes into def goes into context prefabs instantiate alert dialog set title. For the title, I'm actually going to go ahead and pass in a string label, or how about operation? And then we'll set the operation to operation, and then we'll set the message to def.error, and then we'll set can dismiss to true. Now, for our set team, we can simply write it like this. We can simply say, update player details. How about change operation to on fail title? And actually, maybe move on fail title to be the right-hand parameter. I like that more. So now we can say, update player details, new game lobby player details, passing in an ID of context auth user ID and a team of team, and then the operation, the on fail error is going to be can't set player team, and maybe this can be all one line too. Oh, come on, you can type. Maybe I can't type. That would be scary. For readability, we can do that. Okay, so now for set hero, var hero equals game hero index, and then we'll say update player details, passing a new game lobby player details with an ID of context auth user ID and a hero to hero, and then the error will be can't set player hero. There we go. So that is now our set team and our set hero. So let's go ahead and hook this up. So just take a look at that code one last time. And now let's hook it up to our user interface. So let's jump back here into our lobby. And for our lobby, for our dropdown, for our hero dropdown, I'm going to come down here to the on value changed. I'm going to hit plus. I'm going to drag over the lobby window as the game object. The function is going to be lobby window set hero. And that's our hero dropdown. And then for our team dropdown, we'll do pretty much the same thing. We'll come over here and add an on value changed. We'll pop over the lobby object. We'll come down to lobby window and we'll set team. And there we go. So now if we hit play, we should get an error, I'm thinking. Whoops, not here. If we go into the loader, should get an error. And we do. So obviously the reason we got an error was because right now we're throwing new not implemented exceptions inside of our system. So let's go about seeing how we can implement that. So let's go to our game lobby system. So we have the update player details. And what this should do is this should just... Let's see what we should do here. You know, the simplest way to do this would be to say if details dot is, or how about changed has flag, and then we'll do game lobby player details fields hero, and then we'll do hero equals details dot hero, and then if details changed has flag game lobby player details fields team, then team equals details dot team. And obviously here you could do validation. You can say, oh, you're not allowed to do this hero, you're not allowed to do this team, and then you would return an error, but we don't really have any validation that we're going to do here. So at the end of this, I'm going to say lobby dot... Come on, you can do it. How about something like notify player details, updated details, and then I'll simply return deferred.success. Okay, so for notify player details updated, I'm going to go ahead and hit Alt-Enter, and then create the method for notify player details updated. And for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply say, since it's public, we'll move it up a little bit. How about above remove player? So there's this kind of nice little order that we have going on. We have the add player, then the update player, then the remove player, in the order of the methods. I think a lot about order of methods. I think order of methods are really important, something people often don't consider. I'm going to do fiber.enqueue, and the action is going to be proxy.on player updated details. So basically, we're doing this in the fiber, and the reason we're doing that is because the proxy is a wrapper. Remember, the proxy is a wrapper around all of the players that are logged in, but it's backed by a collection that is not thread safe. So we want to make sure that we enqueue it on our game lobby fiber to be able to notify everyone so that we don't accidentally notify people while the collection is being mutated, which would, of course, result in an exception being thrown and everything will blow up and nobody would be happy. But this, all it's doing is broadcasting a player updated event. We could put a sanity check in here, too. I could say, if not players... Well, no, I won't be able to do that because we don't have an index based off ID of the player, so I don't care. That's fine. Let's go ahead and hit F6. Rebuild that guy. And, oh, we're running into that bug again. I really need to track that down. We ran into it a couple videos ago, and the solution was simply restarting Visual Studio. I mean, obviously, it's a Microsoft product, so what do you expect? But yeah, I do need to figure out why there's suddenly that contention. Probably has something to do with the generation of the component interfaces. That seems to cause weird locking issues. But regardless, let's go ahead and relaunch that and then perform a rebuild. Anyway, so there's a lot of other fun stuff you can do with a lobby, but we're keeping it really simple. You join a lobby and you can choose a team, choose a hero, and that's it for now. That'll get us going enough to where we can do playtesting and we can actually get some game servers launched and actually simulating our game. So now that we're built, let's come back into Unity and hit play. Of course, it'll have to restart the server, so we'll have to wait a moment here. So we connect it to the server, and then please choose a user, blah, 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 create lobby, and check that out. As you see, it's updating right here. That's because we have that code in our client in systems, in game lobby system, on player updated is going to pass that into the window update player, and that's going to get the player row and then set the player details, and setting the player details is going to merge in the changed values into the current details, and it's regenerating that text string. So for the final test in this video, let's go ahead and hit Control B to get another window open, another game window open. And we'll log in as 2 users, we'll join the lobby, and then we'll be able to see all that stuff do fun things. So let's go ahead and hit play. Let's come back here and hit play. Let's log into admin here. Let's log into Nelson there. Let's create a lobby there. And then let's join that lobby. And now Nelson should be able to do tank. And as you see, it's replicating that data over to the other player. And then if we do the same thing here, change it to Alethian and tank, come back here, we do indeed see that the thing is working properly. So I think that's really exciting. I don't know about you guys. I really like to start seeing the interaction between these multiple clients. Obviously, that chat list could be made a little bit nicer. What? Why is it? Okay, I need to fix that. I'm going to fix that here in the end of the video. So if we close out of here, now the Nelson left, and now he's the owner of the lobby. Of course, we still can't start the game. That's not implemented, but he can destroy the lobby, and everything's awesome. Let's go ahead and fix that nasty... why is it showing dates there? I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Should be showing times, because you'd think that'd be a lot more useful. So let's come over here to our main lobby system, and I'm going to hit Alt / and just type in chat, and we have an on-chat message received event, not event, but method, who is invoked by the server. And okay, we have the chat row created at text is toLocalTime toShort date string. We want toShort time string. So go ahead and change that over if you hadn't already. I'm sure for you guys paying attention, you guys probably did that already yourselves. And there we go. And that syncs up with my clock properly, which indicates that although we're sending stuff in UTC, things are getting properly converted over. Yeah. Maybe the last thing I want to do, though, I want to do one more thing. I don't want the username to be that long. I don't like it being that long. Why is it that long? It's that long because we have a min width of 100. If we did a min width of 50... and a preferred width of 50. No. But if we did that and then move the font size down to like 9 or 10, does that still look good? No. Maybe 12. That looks good. Still wouldn't work for long names though, so maybe do a preferred width of 75. That looks better. And then maybe right align it. And if we right align it, of course, we're going to need to have some spacing, which we can add into the parent element. And then we'll do the same treatment here, too, on the time. So I think that I've decided for a font size of 12. So to play around with that chat row, I'm going to jump back into lobby. I'm going to click on the chat row content. Come on. Give me the chat row content. There you go. And then I'm going to instantiate that prefab. So that prefab main lobby chat row, and I'm going to instantiate that right there. And let's just play around with this prefab a little bit. Again, it's a little nitpicky, but those chat rows are really irritating me. So the username is going to have, if I click on that, he is going to be right aligned. He's going to have a font size of 12 and a min size of 75 and a preferred width of 75. Then for our created at, I'm going to take him, move his font size down to 12. I think I'm also going to make him a slightly gray color. And with that, let's put it into random time here. Let's put 1204. So if we put 1204 in, you see it's still, there's a lot of wasted space there. So if we took the min width down to maybe 40 and the preferred width down to 40, I think that looks a lot better. And the final thing we need to do is we need to have spacing between the username and the message. We can accomplish that by clicking on the chat row, going to his horizontal layout group, and adding a spacing of like 5 pixels. And now we can click on chat row, and we can apply that prefab. See, isn't the new UI really cool? being able to do this. Imagine doing this in GUI.txt and calculating all that nonsense. This is really straightforward. All right, so we applied the prefab, and then we can delete that dummy chat row. Let's jump back into our loader and hit play. I'll get as admin and do some messages. Close, but there still is a ridiculous amount of wasted space. Obviously, admin has a short username, so I don't think it... I don't like the wasted space, but I'm just going to have to live with it. I do need to fix the right-hand side, though. That's not enough. That's not enough width. Maybe if we bump the width up to 50. That won't be enough width either. Let's say it was, say it's 12. See? Actually, we can probably bump the font size down to 9. Bump the font size down to 9 and bump the min width up to 50. I think I like that. So let's, I wonder if we could do that straight in the prefab itself. Let's open up the chat row, go to the created at when we can. Take the font size down to 9, and then bump its min width and its preferred width to 50. And we don't have to do any applying prefabs because we modified the prefab directly. And now we can hit play, hit admin, create. Oops, we didn't even need to do that. And that looks better. Still doesn't look great, but it looks better. But yeah, at this point, our lobby interface is practically done. Really, the last thing we need to do... Oh, well, actually, there's really nothing left to do besides creating our actual game servers. So actually creating a... I'm going to put together, like I said, a really naive, rudimentary load balancing-y thing where we're going to have these game servers that will register themselves with the master server and then periodically tell the master server, hey, I have these many people online right now, I have these many games on, and so on. And then the master server is going to choose, when you start a game, it's going to choose which game server it started on. So it'll choose that server, it'll then tell that server, hey, we're starting a game. The server will spin up the game, then notify the master server, hey, the game has started, we're ready to go. Then the master server will notify everyone in the lobby, and then we'll disconnect from the master server, connect to the game server, and everything will be awesome. And at that point, we can actually start playing around with the game itself. So with that, I think we will see you guys in the next video.